Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach. Yom Shlishi Parsha Vayigash. Shnaf Tavshin Ayin Zayin. Shiva Tiferes Avigdor. Welcome back, everybody. In this week's Parsha, we encounter the Malchus of Yosef. Yosef was a melech like no other. As my Zayda says, he was the longest melech for 71 years. And he was the most powerful of all the Yiddish melachim. A person couldn't lift up his hand nor his foot without his permission. Now, Malchus is a pretty neat zach. Let's understand what's great about being a melech. There's a bad side, an aspect of wanting to be a melech, because you want to lord over others. You want to boss over others. That's not a good thing. But the koyach of being a melech, like a Moshe is, you'd be a melech, you're a scary world. I mean, but the world would be scared, I should say. So, what's the good thing about being a melech?
You can institute certain decrees that are for the...
A melech has a koyach lehashpia on the others. My Zayda used to say that everybody is tested with some form of malchus. First, the person is tested in his own life. Could he be a melech on himself? Second of all, he is given an opportunity to be a melech over his family. Husband and wife, a melech and a malka. The question is, do they rule over their family in a way that they mashpia l'toiv? They give direction, encouragement where it's needed, discipline, structure, with the hope and the dream that things will turn out for the best. You'll have nachas from your children. Now, many people don't understand that that is a position. People think that having families and having kids is natural, right? Everybody does it. But that's not the Torah viewpoint. The Torah viewpoint is that Hashem is giving you the koyach to rule. And you have to train yourself to be a ruler. There's lines between a ruler and a dictator. And then there are people who just let their kids rule over them. It's also not a ruler. It's the opposite extreme from being a dictator. Here we have Yosef becoming a melech in an extreme, unusual manner. He became a melech from prison. He became a melech from being a yid, which was an unusual situation. So Chazal revealed to us an insight into understanding how was Yosef zoiche to become a melech. And then you'll understand the pathway for you to become a melech in your life. Many parents have called me, my children don't listen to me. Okay? What shall I do? I said, the first thing you do is walk over to a mirror. Show you're not a chassidish fellow. Show you're not medactic and not a lach and shulchan aruch. Walk over to the mirror and look in the mirror. What am I looking for? I'm looking to figure out, do I listen? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Do I listen to my parents? Do I listen to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? There's a lady calls me up one time. She wasn't observant. She calls me up to tattle on her son. Her son told her he's very happy for her to come to his house for Shabbos, but she can't leave on Shabbos, the middle of Shabbos. She has to wait till the end of Shabbos. She wanted to leave on Shabbos. And she was very upset at him, because she had plans. So she called me up, tell me why my Talmud is not doing kibbut of the aim and not listening to his parents. Rabbi, don't you train him to accept and listen to your parents? I said, yes, I do, but you got to him first. I said, and you were a better teacher for a much longer period of time than I was. I only know him for a year and a half or two. But for 25 years, you worked him over and drilled into him that kibbut of the aim is for fools. Listening to your parents is the dumbest thing that a kid could do. I said, you didn't listen one word to your parents. And besides, do you know who made that rule up of kibbut of aim? Hashem. And you know what Hashem says? You should observe my mitzvahs and walk in my ways for your own benefit. Do you listen to anything Hashem does, or do you throw him under the bus? Answer, you throw him under the bus. So why shouldn't your son treat you in the very same way? I told him, besides the fact, you should be proud of your son, because your son is being mechabed HaKadosh Baruch Hu and being mechabed you when he's telling you not to be mechal Shabbos. You think he's not listening to your will. Your will, you don't know what you want. You don't have enough seichel to understand that. So a person has to know that when we trying to be mashpia on somebody, and the hashpah doesn't seem to be working, the first thing to look at is to say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm sorry that I didn't listen to my own parents, or I'm sorry that I didn't listen to you and take your guidance. I did what I want. And now your children behave in the exact same manner. Because you told your children you better not do that. Hashem also told us a lot of things, you better not do that. So Chazal tell us that was Yosef was zeichet to Malchus, and every prat and every step of the way came about as a result of his tremendous midah called Malchus. Chazal tell us as follows. In Parsha Miketz, Amar Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, Yosef mishaloi nosnu loi. That's a tremendous insight. Mishaloi nosnu means Yosef was granted every kibud and every role of honor and every koyach of hashpah that he got it mishaloi. If you would have asked me before this medrash, why was Yosef zeichet to be a melech? Know what I'll tell you? That was Hashem's plan. He was a good kid. Yankov Avinu liked him. Yankov Avinu taught him Torah for 17 years, and he was a good Talmud. And for whatever reason, Hashem had a plan for each one of the Shvatim, and Yosef's role was to be a melech. So the Chazal, Shimon Gamliel tells me, Yosef misheloi nosnuloi. What does that mean? Hapeh sheloi noshak be'aveira. His mouth, which he did not use to be Menashek, the wife of Potifar ba'aveira, was zoiche al picha yishak kol ami. Now, a lot of people say, well, I also didn't do that. Yeah, but you didn't have the Nisayon of Yosef. So, it's a different class. And if you would have the Nisayon, I highly doubt that you would have passed the challenge. Because if you would be Zeichet to pass that challenge, then you know what, Hillel? You'd be a king also. When you said something, all your kids would listen. Your mouth would be determine a lot of factors in people's lives. Al picha yishak kol ami. Barry said to him, I'm granting you a power that your mouth shall rule over the nation. Tzavar, it says, his neck, Shaloi, didn't get involved in any Aveira aspect. You lean against somebody, so it says, Vayosem revid hazov al tzavaroi. That golden chain was placed on his neck. His hands that didn't sin, his feet that didn't sin, every single thing. Because his hands didn't sin, the Gemara, the Pasuk says, no one can lift his hand if you don't give him permission. No one can lift his foot. And it says, Gufay, Shaloi Naga Ba'aveira, Vayal Beish Oisai, Bigdei Sheish. And his hands were placed rings. Unbelievable. He was given such covet, his machshava, that he wasn't maharer ba'averis. For all the years, and what did he do instead? He thought about chachma, divrei chachma. So, vayikru lefonav avreich, av bechachma, v'rach b'shon. Now this is something to tell us, Chazal tell us this was not a matnas chinam. Don't think it was a matnas chinam. This is something that a person could earn. He had, a moilech is somebody that has the ability to control and rule over himself. It's funny, you don't find that the people in Mitzrayim, Yosef had some pretty harsh decrees. I mean, at some point, the entire Mitzrayim became avodim lepara. Every single person in Mitzrayim became an eved lepara, except for a few kahanim. But it's just it's marvel al right. You think it'd be an uprising? You'd think people would fight against that? No, when he said something, it carried weight, and not because it carried a big stick. Yosef was a moishel al atzmai. He was a melech al atzmai, and from that he became zoiche to be a melech al acher. You look at Gedolim, you read about the Chavetz Chaim, about Gedolei Yisroel. They were carried around. They could have been zeicha to gadlus, kavod, she'en kemoisa. Most of the time they rejected it, but they didn't need it. They didn't feel the kavod would enhance their ability to be mechanech and be melamed Torah l'klal Yisrael. But what people wanted to do for them is unbelievable. And the reason was because they were malachim on themselves. So Hashem adorned them and was mekashem them. So here's a person who's thinking, my kids are not listening to me, or my wife is not listening to me. Right? Very common thing, right? So a person should give some introspection into his own life and say, I am a Kabul from now on to bring Kvod Shemayim by listening to what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to do. Your wife complains. People don't like when wives complain. But a lot of times wives complain. So you want to know, why do wives complain? You know why? Because you complain. You have no control over yourself. So Hashem says, you complain, your wife complains. Or here's a person who gets angry fast. Here's a person, he's very fast, and he's working on kas. He struggles with self-control. So his wife becomes a complainer all day long. I have this pain, I have that pain. This is not good, and that's not good. What's the pshat? Because Hashem is letting you know, you have to learn, you never accepted upon yourself an avodah of control. And that is something, you go to people's homes and you see this all the time, but if a person understands, so then the person becomes aware that he can pave his own road. That's what it says. Yehuda was also a melech because he was a Moshe al Atzmai, like Rashi says. Yankov Avinu told him, you made sure you were in a very big challenge when you were looking to kill Tamar, and you removed yourself, or when he said you faced the pressure on Yosef and you removed yourself, you don't want to kill him. That was Mikayach, the control, the amazing control that they had of themselves. And people don't realize that these midas, everyone could be zeicha to. And these midas, everyone is given an opportunity. when the brothers came to Yankov Avinu and they told him, Oid Yosef Chai, v'chihu Moishel b'chol Eretz Mitzrayim. He tried to imagine this. Yosef HaTzadik. Yosef was mamish, the Bar Chakim, the Ben Skunim of Yankov Avinu, Talmud Muvak. Yosef now is the Melech over the worst country in the world. Does that make him feel happy? You come tell me he's a Melech in Stoim. I mean, please, you know what I mean? That's nachas. Oh, Yosef Chai told him. V'chihu Moishel b'chol Eretz Mitzrayim. What was the nachas? V'yofag Liboy, what was the nachas about? So some want to think, maybe the nachas is, he says, at least he's alive. At least he's alive. The people came out of the Holocaust, they lost their entire families, and they heard they had a child that was left. But he was damaged. He was damaged. Yeah, at least he's alive. Baruch Hashem. Yankov Avinu understood that if Yosef was zeicha to become a Zam Moishel, then perforce Yosef remained a tzaddik, because he understood they weren't looking for Yidden. Hashem orchestrated that, and the reason why Hashem orchestrated that had to be because Yosef was zeicha to it. And that is the goal of a person. In the Mishnah in Avos it says as follows: Ezehu Gibor HaKovish Es Yitzrei. Who was a Gibor HaKovish Es Yitzrei? Shenemar, it says, Toiv Erech HaPayim. It's better a person doesn't get angry, mi gibor, from another strong man. Umoishel beruchai, someone who's moishel on his spirit, is greater than the loiked ear, from somebody who conquers the city. So Rabbi Yonah says that there are two things that are counted over here. He says, Gvuras Halev, Hillel. Gvuras Halev has in it two kaiches. What two kaiches are there in Gvuras Halev? He says, one, a person that has Gvuras Halev, so he's able to be a Gibor b'milchama, he's brave. He's not afraid to do battle. Fear is a tremendous underminer of soldiers. Somebody who's fearless and has his wits about him is the Gibor b'milchama. That's one thing, he says, Gvuras Halev is for. Another thing Gvuras Halev is for Kvishas Hayetzer. Very dalit. So the Mishnah tells us that koyach, a person who has strength of erech hapayim, strength of spirit, is much greater than someone who's fearless in battle. He says, Gibor b'milchama is not such a davar gadol kol kach. But if a person can be kovish as yetzer against somebody who he hates, that gevura is an outstanding gevura, and it's a powerful gevura. That's what it says. Toiv erech hapayim migibor. Hear that? A moishel beruach is even better than an erech hapayim, he says. An erech hapayim is a guy that's patient. And a moishel beruach is a guy that even when he's bekas, he's upset, he's moichel because he's yorei es Hashem. So in Gvuras Haruach, there are two levels. There's one fellow who has a Gvuras Haruach, that he's able to be patient, and there's another person who even when he gets upset already, he has a strength to be moishel on himself because of Yiras Hashem. There's a pasuk in Mishlei, Moshe Baruchai. Patient is better than Toiv Erech Apayim Begibor, and a Moshel is greater than a Loiked Ir. A Loiked Ir is someone who has an enemy, and he's also kocht against his enemy, and he finally conquers the enemy. That guy, when he comes face to face with the enemy, he's all worked up, and his interest is what, Hillel? He won already. He wants to slaughter the enemy to pieces. Like you see now in Syria what happened. They took over Aleppo, they shechted him left and right. They don't let him out. Because once you're so worked up of all the tsuras you had to conquer the city. So first step is an erech hapayim. Somebody's patient. That's better than a gibor b'mocham. Going to mocham. Fearless guy. But a Moshel Baruch is a guy who faces the oye, faces the enemy. And he's angry at the guy. The guy ticked him off already. And he still controlled himself. A Moshel B'Yitzrei is a harder level. Moshel Baruch. The Vilna Gaon in Mishlei also explains in this pasuk of Moshel Baruchai, he says that really it makes no sense when a guy conquers a city to wipe out all the residents, because there's no city left anymore. His whole conquest is up there. He didn't want a piece of land to build a house. He wants to have people subjugated to him. So what's the tellus of that city if you wipe everybody out? So he says, but the emotion of a person is so strong that he can't control himself. And people go back into cities and they wipe the cities, raze the cities, destroy the cities, nothing left. But to control that kas is much harder. That was Yosef Satzadik's chinuch. Yosef Atzadik had the koyach of being Moshel Baruch. So every one of us in our lives knows the points where he's not a Moshel Baruch. And he knows what areas of his life where he's not patient. Usually you could see it very much on somebody else. You point it out right away, the guy's not patient, the guy's gas. But on yourself, you always think, I'm a pretty easygoing fellow. And then you get challenges in your life, and the person has to realize that those challenges are somebody just told me a story with his wife. And his wife received a nasty text message from a relative that got her quite upset. And she was thinking how to respond. You can't remain a malchayv. You can't remain shuldig. You have to be mishalim. Otherwise, you will be below v'rosha below yishalim. If you don't pay up. So you have to pay up, right? So the lady thought, what would Rebitz and Brog do in such a case? Baruch Hashem, she has a good eye on my wife. So she said, I'm sure she would overlook it. I'm sure she would say something nice back to the person. So she texted something nice back to the person and diffused the situation. They came to tell me the mice. I said, I'm very proud of your wife. Your wife, that's called a Moishel Barucha. That's a person who's kavish himself. Because once, it's not called being patient. Once a person gives you a challenge, and you're getting ready to kach of this affront, and this person, then your person gets all upset. At that point, to be able to subject your upsetness and not destroy anybody or not respond, but to make it diffuse the situation by lowering your head, that's the koyach of Yosef HaTzadik. So all of you are going to want to be successful one day. You're going to want to lead, and you're going to want to lead by being a melech, first on your families. But it has to start with a person undertaking to work on himself. So every time you receive a challenge from somebody, so you see a person who has no patience, he loses it on somebody just from a lack of patience. Sometimes you have a person who somebody does something to anger him and he loses it then. So of course that's less of an evil and it's to be more expected. But a person has to know when Hashem provides you with these challenges, presents you with these challenges, so you are to understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is preparing you for Malchus. And if Hashem prepares you for Malchus, you have to know, you take the bait, you go with it, and then you'll be zeichet to become a melech one day. As a person that gets fired from a job, getting fired from a job is a very unpleasant, especially if you like the job, and especially if you need the money, and especially if it's a blow to your ego. Sometimes you work in a big company, so it's only a question of the job and the money. But Amo, you work in a Hamish place, and they fire you out the door, so that is what you call an ego buster, not an ego booster. That knocks a person out for a loop. And a person now gets upset. So you harbor all kind of resentments, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving you an opportunity to be moishel on your ruach and to understand that if you're going to pass these tests, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to prepare you for very many great things. Then you're going to be zeichet to become, at least in your family, at least in your own life, and maybe for others also. As Aid used to say that if a person was a moishel ba'atzmai, a moishel baruchai, and he thought, I would love to be melamed Torah l'amo Yisroel, or I would love to be mashpia toif. I don't have the ability. Not I'm lazy. I don't have the ability. I was never given the opportunity. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give him schar as if he accomplished this great accomplishment. As long as he developed himself into someone who's ro'ui for this greatness. And if a person ro'ui for the greatness, and that's your shoyef, you haven't sipiyah for this, I have no suffix, my Zayda had great plans to be a Rosh Hashiva. He really did. He thought about it many times. Said if he came back again to the world, he would have a little different approach, do things a little different, because he felt that was a great opportunity to be melamed Torah l'amo Yisroel. No? But I have no doubt that he prepared himself for this. He dedicated himself for this. How he would bring cover to Hashem. I have no doubt he had many plans of how his yeshiva would look. And after developing himself, he came to Yerushalayim, Bezin Shalmayla, Yeshiva Shalmayla. So there they said to him, okay, now you're right to be Rosh Yeshiva. Your life dream, but now, so every one of us should take this to heart, take this into account, and get to work on yourselves to make yourselves into great rulers over yourself.
Like you said, I was thinking about as opposed to other